Hi, I think this is maybe our last section in circles. 10.8, our equation of a circle. So we have equations of lines where slope-intercept, point slope, standard form equation of lines. We have equations where we can find Pythagorean theorem, things like that. Here we have an equation that is in the form of a circle. So our equation of a circle is actually going to be kind of like Pythagorean theorem, except that you have the center. X minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals the radius squared. A little bit like Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but not exactly the same. H and k are considered the center. So, I don't know why there's that. HK is the center, and R is the radius. So remember, R is the radius, and in the equation it's actually squared. So you have to square root it to get the actual radius. So right here we could write these equations. H is first, x minus 5 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 2 squared, which would be 4. Now remember, the actual equation is a minus. So if there's a minus, x minus negative 1 squared plus y minus 7 squared equals 14 squared is 196. Now when you have a minus and negative, you can go ahead and make that a plus, but just remember to change it or write both of them there. X minus negative is plus 2 squared plus y minus a negative 11 squared equals 18 squared is, oh wait, not 18 squared, this isn't my radius, this is the diameter, which means the radius is actually equal to 9, and 9 squared is actually 81. Pay attention to those, it's a little bit tricky. Here, now we have x minus 0. Well, x minus 0 is x, so I'm just going to write x squared here. You can or don't need to, you don't need to write the parentheses. I'm actually going to have them. So I'm just going to have x squared here because it's a 0 plus y minus 9 squared. Diameter is 32, which means my radius is 16. 16 squared is 256. Here I have x minus negative 4 squared plus y minus 0 will just be y squared. Now the radius is square root of 47. Whenever you have a square root and you square it, it's going to cancel. So like if you had square root of 9 squared, well, square root of 9 is 3 squared, which is 9. Anytime you have the square root of something squared, they will just cancel. So the square root of 47 squared is going to be 47. Last one here, x minus 15 squared plus y minus negative 6 squared. Square root of 158 squared is 158. There we go. So the next part here, given the graph, can you identify what the center of the circle is, and can you tell me what the radius is? Well, the radius from here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Radius is 5. The center here, starting at 0, 0 is here. 1, 2, 3. Down 1, 2. I think I got a center of 3, negative 2. Once you can pick out the center and the radius, you can definitely go ahead and write the equation. X minus 3 squared plus y minus negative 2 squared equals radius squared is 25. So you're able to look at an actual circle, pick out the center and the radius, and you can write the equation that would create that circle, which is kind of fun. Right here, center and the point on the circle. What we would need to do is we need to calculate the radius. The radius, if this is my equation up here, if this is my equation, if I square root it, it would be equal to r. So I'm going to rewrite this down here. The radius would be equal to the square root of x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. Taking that straight from my actual equation. So if I want to actually calculate the radius, because I know if I'm going to write the equation, it's going to be x minus 9 squared plus y minus 10 squared. I need the radius to write the rest of the equation. So I need to calculate it if I know this is my radius, if this is my center, and this is a point on the circle, I could use this point as my xy to calculate the radius. So the radius is going to be equal to x, which is 7, minus the center 9 squared, plus y is 4, minus the center 10 squared. 7 minus 9 is going to be negative 2. Negative 2 squared plus 4 minus 6 is going to be negative 6 squared. Negative 4 squared, negative 2 squared is 4. Negative 6 squared is 36. I get square root of 40, which is root 4 times 10, which is 2 root 10. Okay, now I don't even have to go this far, because if I know that r is root 40, if I square that, what happens when I square square root? R squared will be equal to 40. So that's my equation and I'm done. And I didn't really even have to simplify it. I do because of habit. But once you get here, you know your answer. Let's go ahead and do one more of these. Again, we're going to write at the end x minus 1 squared plus y minus negative 5 squared equals r squared. Calculating r using the point on the circle for my xy and my center as my hk. Radius is equal to negative 7 minus 1 squared plus negative 13 minus negative 5 squared. Negative 7 minus 1 will be negative 8 squared is 64. Negative 13 plus 5 will be negative 8 squared is 64 again. 132. R is equal to 132, which means r squared is equal to 132. I said that wrong. I said r is equal to the square root of 132, so r squared is equal to 132. Should I put 132 here? Did I add that wrong? Oh no, 64 and 64 is 128. Apologies. And there we go, we're done. Okay, I'm going to go to the next page. These two are essentially the same as what we just did, so I am going to skip those two. Going down here, given the circumference and the area, could I write the equation? Here's my center. My circumference is this. I need my radius. Okay, to write the equation, my equation is going to be x minus negative 1 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals, I need this right here. So if I know my circumference right here, 2 pi r is equal to 6 pi. Divide both sides here by 2 pi. I end up with my radius is equal to 3. Now remember, you don't put your radius in here, you put your radius squared. So 3 squared is actually going to be 9. And now I'm able to write that complete equation. This one's going to be only ugly because it's a fraction, so we're going to skip that one. Let's do this one here. Area. Now area is pi r squared equals 16 pi. Divide both sides by pi, I get r squared equals 16, which means r equals 4. Once I solve for r and I have the center, x minus negative 8 squared plus y minus negative 11 squared equals r squared. So don't forget, this is actually going to be 16. And this is the equation it's asking me to do. This one's not too bad, except for 2 pi r equals 17 pi. So if I divide this, I'm going to get r equals half of 17 is 8.5. So it just makes it a little bit ugly. Here, area pi r squared equals 361 pi. Do I know the square root of, do I know the square root of 361? 19. I was going to say, I think it might be 19. So you could write the rest of it if you know those. Now, can you look at these going backwards? Can you tell me what the center and the radius is? So fill in all 4 of those first. Now what's tricky is you have to remember that it's the opposite. So if it's negative here, the center is actually positive 5, positive 1. Square root of this will be 8. Opposite of this will be negative 7, positive 2. Square root of 324. Let's say it's 18. 18. Here, look, there's nothing with the x. So that means that the x coordinate is going to be 0. Y is negative 10. Second square root, 42.25. I end up with a diameter. Oh, my radius is 6.5. This is asking me for my diameter. So times 2 is going to give me 13. I just noticed this one asked me for my diameter as well. So since I got 18 here, my diameter is actually 36. I did not see that. Be super careful. I'm checking my answers with the key at the same time, making sure. Okay, so my center here, opposite of x will be positive 6, opposite of y will be negative 11. R squared is 58, so the radius is going to be square root of 58. Here we go. I am not going to ask you to do one like the challenge one, so we're going to go ahead and skip that. But that is it for your equations of circles. So good job, good luck you guys. I will see you next time. Have a fabulous day.